Welcome back. Rejoice, you saw that report. I was asking you just before the break that, what do you think about the people left behind? And you saw the military there fighting the war. What have you heard from the people back home that, okay, is it more peaceful than you left it?
It's more peaceful than that time when we left here, because even my parents now, they have gone back to Adamawa. So they said for now, everything at least don't they in order small. But it's just that things hard for them because of they destroy many things, and some of the things where they destroy, at least for them to get them back, it's not easy. So they are still suffering to try to catch up with life. So,
yeah, you said, of course, the displaced people need help in different ways. Who are we talking about to bring this help?
I think it's everybody, all hands on deck. The truth is, the kind of help groups like ours can offer, we would do what we can, temporary interventions. But really the long-term interventions that are needed, it has to be the government. You have a government who for a very long time refused to acknowledge there were displaced people in Lagos, for whatever reason. Now, if you're not acknowledging the problem, you're not going to be able to even create interventions for them, Sometimes you would call, they say they're old, they're lying, it's all these Okada riders that have been here forever and ever and all of that. I'm like, look, or they're not really IDPs because they refused to go to the camp they kept for them wherever, or some facility. And I said, no, a displaced person, as is defined by all the conventions Nigeria has signed, is someone who is forced to flee their home from, by conflict, flood, natural disaster, whatever. So, and they are now on the run, or they're out there, they don't have access. So whether they're in a camp or not, that's not the issue. The issue is that they are displaced. So there are so many people that can help. One of the things I keep saying is, initially I always said, we need to stop this, we need to de-ostrich ourselves. Till today, there are some people, they'll tell you, displaced people in Lagos, no, it's not possible. Like, if Syrians can be running to London or wherever, or Germany, why won't Nigerians in Maiduguri flee to Lagos if they can, So the one, we need to acknowledge we have an issue, all of us, whether you're a private individual or a company, and then we need to educate ourselves on those issues. But more importantly, we've heard both of them talk about their children going to school. We are trying, as CESO, to have certain discussions with other partners around how can we get the government to evolve a system where their children can get into state school. Because when you go to state school, I remember one of the other displaced was telling me, when you get to state school, they'll tell you if you want to apply for the state school, bring the certificate from, excuse me, you ran. Which certificate are you going to have, or a birth certificate, or bring your tax clearance? You're displaced, you're not going to have tax clearance. So I think there needs to be special considerations on that. And along the spectrum, there are roles the government has to play. There are roles the aid agencies have to play, the international aid agencies. While, yes, it is true, they're very focused on the Northeast, a lot of it needs to be a lot more systemic. We need to have a clearer plan. There are a lot of plans on paper, and there are discussions, and you have all these meetings happening in Abuja, sometimes in Maiduguri. We will go for 1 or 2 meetings. But we need more than that. We need the actions. We can't just be talking. And there are some actions being taken, but it needs to be a lot faster. I think individuals can support entities like ours, and they can begin to ask questions. How we knew there were displaced people in Lagos, we just noticed in our environment there were more Akara sellers than before. That's how we started getting a hint. That was in 2014. And so we need to wake up to our environments as well. So if you do see people, as you can see, Hafsat and Rejoice, they could be you and me. It can happen to anybody. So if we do see people whom we can't just be saying, oh, it's those northerners that have come here to come and whatever. We need to ask questions. Or we have security guards. Some people have security guards. You notice they have more. I know a lot of well-meaning Nigerians who have started paying school fees for those people, whatever. But it's a lot of money. We had a supporter, for example, who took in about 32 children of displaced persons, or some of them had run on their own.
In Lagos alone, or other?
No, they were here in Lagos, and she took them into her school. But she didn't have the funding to keep it, so they could only stay in the school for 6 months, because she had to provide feeding morning, noon, and night. She had to provide their uniforms, the tuition was there, and all of that. It's very involving work. And some of the challenges, too, is that everybody is focused on the Northeast, and they should be. But we need to also recognize that
that's
there are
where
people.
the bulk of the people.
That's where
are.
the bulk of the people are. I mean, displaced people in Lagos don't even feature in NEMA statistics as IDPs.
In Lagos and other parts of
in
the
Lagos
country.
and other parts. Sometimes they include a Benue, a Taraba because of headsmen.
So probably need
whatever.
the different states to say how many displaced people they have in their
If
state.
they're willing to agree that they have them. Some of them would not want to before discussions we had. So hopefully maybe things are changing. Then I think it was also for political reasons, and different beliefs about what was the source of the crisis. So there are those. I mean, there are other people. Taraba, for example, Benue, Nasarawa, they have their own displacement issues around headsmen attacks and communal conflicts of other kinds. So those ones too, again, when you go, sometimes it's not even easy to get a tally of how many displaced people and to even have that conversation.